Kenneth, I may just leave the final topic, just a couple of key takeaways from you. Like you've worked closely with vendors to successfully roll out these partner performance dashboards. Kenneth, is there any gems of wisdom that you've learned, or even customers have played back to you to say this is why it worked and this is why it was successful?
Yeah, it's a good question, John, a broad one, but I suppose the key things that I would think people need to think about are, number one, it's not as daunting as you think. We, for example, as Channel Mechanics, have done it with many, many vendors in the past 2 years. And again, I think Balaji said earlier, crawl, walk, run, really great approach, great advice. And when you do that, you deliver value along the way. So don't think, I'm standing up a dashboard. We covered a lot here today. Don't boil the ocean. It doesn't have to be everything. You could simply start with revenue and training. Okay, they're still two very important key facets of most programs. You, a month later, can add on pipeline for deal registration, etc. You can add on incentives. So don't think you have to have everything day one, because every day, to Balaji's last point, you make it easier to be a company to work with. You're starting to win partner mindshare and build that loyalty in your partner ecosystem. What isn't good is the opposite of that, is no more emails, no more spreadsheets. You have to get your mindset away from that. So, partner performance dashboards are a tremendous way to change actually how you do business with your partners. And it's not, as I said, it's not as daunting a journey as people might think. And it's certainly not as daunting a journey as it was 5 years ago. There are the tools and systems in place now to really streamline how you suck up that data from multiple different systems, because ultimately, that's what you need to do. And then, John, and the benefits of that are a lot of the stuff we talked about: ease of doing business for your partner community, winning partner mindshare, enabling your account managers to become sales focused, having much better productive QBRs where everybody's on the same page. And to Jeremy's point, no surprises, everybody knows where they're at, etc. And when you do start as a vendor to release something new into the partner ecosystem, guess what? It's as simple as updating a tile on your dashboard. So now partners are working with you and they know in advance, you can simply do a tile, what's coming soon. So now you've got your partners hooked, you've got a way to do business today, but you've also got a way to advise them what's changing in the future. So you've literally, making their lives a lot easier. So yeah, that's really it, John. It isn't, my parting point is, it's not as daunting as people think. Don't be afraid to do it. Without a shadow of a doubt, the vendors we've worked with that are doing it are more competitive. They are winning partner mindshare and ultimately, gaining edge in the market by doing so. For not a lot of investment. To me, it's one of those things, as we say, it's a no-brainer.
That's super. All right, Brenda, so while I'm getting the last 1 minute of advice from each of the panelists, so you can be ready with the poll results, and we'll play back what people said in a few seconds. Jeremy, if I can maybe start with you, in one sentence or less than 1 minute even, any final parting words of advice for a vendor out there that's looking to build out a partner performance dashboard, how to make it work, make it stick? I'm
going to repeat the crawl, walk, run piece. Don't try and leap too far. It's, just get going with something.
Yep.
The analogy we like to use is, moving someone from a spreadsheet to an absolutely fully functional everything is like taking them from the old Nokia 6310 to an iPhone 13. It's too big a leap. Yeah. Start off with a couple of key things, because then not only do you actually get it implemented, but you get to see people using it. And as the usage comes up, then you can step up to other features and functionality. But if you just hit everything at the same time, it's quite hard for people to absorb. So start slow, all right, get it adopted, both internally and externally, and then grow from there.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeremy. And Balaji, from your experience again with your extensive channel team and channel program leadership as well, any advice maybe for channel program managers, that maybe have to work around and start to think about what a dashboard would look like? Any advice or guidance for the internal teams to make this work?
Yeah, I think, again, the crawl, walk, and run, I always use that, right? So And because a lot of times you'll go after an IT department or an operations department and they'll run away from you because, you know, they just, holy smokes, we can't do this now. You know, it's not in our budget, it's not in our scope and all of that. So I think the most important thing is, and I learned this a long time ago, two things I learned a long time ago. One is when I was much younger, I would put together like these, you know, on a spreadsheet, all these dashboard, all these KPIs and all that. And I'd find out later on that maybe 3 out of the 10 were ever viewed or ever used, right? And so, all of us have this disposition to like, oh wow, let's do all these cool things, right? But in the end, only 2 or 3 actually matter. And so ask your partners, bring them into the design of the dashboard, right? Because you don't want to go down this path and unveil something that's never used, right? So bring them in, bring in key stakeholders internally as well. I share with you guys every week. I share only 4 things with my, you know, executive leadership colleagues. It's pipeline, because as a channel organization, one of the key things that I care about and we are responsible for is driving pipeline. So what are the 2 key things around pipeline? Well, one is deal registration. It's a leading indicator of what pipeline could be coming in. So that's an important KPI for us. Another one is just, you know, we set a goal that at least a third of our pipeline that's being created should come from the source from the channel. That's another KPI that I showed. Another one is new seats, right? Where are the new seats coming from? Is it sourced from partners or not, right? So there could be just 3 or 4 of these kinds of things that are really important that are always going to be talked about. So make sure that you identify those, bring in partners to be able to help you design and establish these KPIs, and then of course, crawl, walk, and run. And sorry, last thing is call it a pilot. That's something I learned a long time ago as well, is that if you walk in and try to go after people and say, oh, I want to do all of this, but if you call it a pilot, you actually get a lot more internal stakeholders wanting to participate and helping you out as well.